Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. So you might remember it was a couple years ago, Joe Biden sold off I think it was half or maybe even more of the United States strategic oil reserves. And those are the oil reserves that are set aside for times of crisis, where if everything goes wrong in the world, the US still has the strategic oil reserve to preserve our way of life so that we can actually function until we can remedy things, right? Essentially. Today, I got this article here from the Post Millennial. New. Biden administration cancels plan to refill strategic petroleum reserve after depleting the reserves by 43%. I thought he actually depleted a little bit more than that, but maybe he's been putting some in there. I don't know. Before we get into this article, I'm going to go ahead and show you this other article real quick, just the headline. This one is from July 8th, 2022, just to give us some history, right? Revealed. Biden sold 1 million barrels of oil from U.S. strategic reserves to Chinese company Hunter Biden invested in. Now let's set the Hunter Biden part aside and just focus on the fact that Biden in 2022 sold 1 million barrels of oil from the strategic reserves. And this was just on the heels, I believe, of the Russian invasion into Ukraine, which obviously sent the price of oil upwards. And so then we had this other one I wanted to show you real quick from October 2022. Breaking, Biden says strategic oil reserves are half full. Promises release of additional 15 million barrels. So he's acting like he's going to replenish the stocks, but he hasn't. This was 2022. In October, 6 months later. Back to today's article real quick. Let's go ahead and get into it. The Biden administration has canceled a plan delivered in March to refill the strategic petroleum reserves. The Department of Energy's Office of Petroleum Reserves announced on March 14th its solicitation for 3 million barrels of oil to be delivered in August and September to the Bayou Choctaw site in Louisiana. This site is one of 4 major SPR storage facilities in the country, according to Fox Business. The DOE said that it would pull back from its recent solicitation for oil, coming amid increasing prices. And so what that means is, if they go ahead and start replenishing this strategic oil reserve now, it's going to create a higher demand and the prices are going to go up even further. That's going to affect Biden negatively in the election. And so the way that I interpret that is that Biden, instead of doing the proper thing and replenishing the strategic oil reserves that he never should have sold in the first place because they were filled when oil was low. You remember during Trump, they were giving away barrels of oil, basically. They were paying for people to come pick them up, if you remember correctly. And so, they refilled the oil when it was nothing. Biden went and sold it when price was up, so now he has to replenish it. And if he replenishes it when cost is even higher, that's a net loss for selling that oil and then replenishing it, right? It was a bad transaction. Essentially, selling his stock at a loss or something like that. Like I was saying, rather than refilling it, replenishing it like he should, and putting the next president, or maybe himself if he wins for the next 4 years. I'm sure the Democrats have a shadow campaign, I should say, like the one that they announced in Time magazine post the 2020 election, right? So with that all going on, they would rather Americans not have the strategic oil reserves in place. We just have World War III looming with all the conflict around the world. I don't need to name it. You guys are aware that gas prices will stay low and that Biden will have a better chance of winning an election. It's rather selfish and a demonstration of how politicians will put the people second when it comes to winning an election. And that's just disgraceful. If a person is trying to win an election so that they can become the leader and represent you, they should be doing right by the people 100% of the time, not making an exception so that they can appear better. But anyways, sorry for the rant. Let's go ahead and continue with the article. The SPR currently contains 363 million barrels of oil. This is a 43% decrease from January 2021 when Biden took office. Biden began tapping the reserves in late 2021 to combat skyrocketing fuel prices. At least that's what he claimed. But if I remember correctly, prices were going up because that was on the heels of Biden shutting down the contracts of the American pipeline that they're putting in to come down from Canada, if I remember. But keeping the taxpayers' interest at the forefront, we will not award for the Bayou Choctaw SPR site in August and September, and will continue to solicit available capacity at market conditions as market conditions allow, a DOE spokesperson said. We monitor market dynamics and remain nimble and innovative in our successful replenishment approach to protect this critical national security asset. Protect the asset that you guys pretty much drained in half. Come on, you guys. If it's such a critical national security asset, why did we tap into it in the first place? That's something that we should have kept reserved for its purpose. When the plans to refill Bayou Choctaw were announced, the DOE said it aimed to purchase oil at $79 a barrel or lower. Oil prices have increased to $85.71 as of Wednesday. While the agency has executed several oil purchases in recent months, the reserves still remain at historically low levels. Between 2021 and 2022, Biden ordered that the DOE release 260 million barrels of oil from the SPR. During Wednesday's White House press conference, Fox News' Peter Doocy asked, "You guys started draining the strategic oil reserve to try to help with the Putin price hike a few years ago. Said you were going to refill it, but now it doesn't seem like that's happening. Why?" And that's a great question. I wonder if we get a response here. Let's go ahead and play this video.
So, you guys started draining the strategic petroleum reserve to try and help with the Putin price hike a few years ago. Said you were going to refill it, but now it doesn't seem like that's happening. Why?
Well, I believe the Department of Energy is responsible for that particular component, is refilling that. So I would refer you to the Department of Energy. They would have more specifics on that.
Okay, so she blamed the Department of Energy, even though it was Biden that ordered it be drained in the first place. So more deflection from the White House press secretary, who pretty much nobody likes, right? So in July of 2022, it was revealed that about 1 million barrels of oil released from the reserves were sold to the trading arm of the China Petrochemical Corporation, also known as Sinopec, which is crazy. If you're going to release oil to lower prices in America to Americans, why wouldn't you release that to Americans? I don't understand. You're trying to sell it to China. I get you're getting money back for the oil, but if you're trying to make life better for Americans, reserve that for Americans. Sell it to Americans when they need the reprieve. Did our gas prices go down? I don't think so. If they did, they probably didn't go down at the rate they would have had they released that inside of our country. If that's even how that works. This is all pretty complicated stuff, but just on the surface, if you want to make it better, you want to claim that it was to keep gas prices down, well, guess what? Keep it within America. It's supply versus demand. You get rid of your supply, you have a higher demand, prices go up. Keep your supply, distribute it amongst the people that you're trying to help, and prices go down, which was a bad idea. We should have kept it where it was in the first place, just in case we might need it. We have an eclipse, we have CERN, we have NASA sending rockets into the ionosphere named after an Egyptian deity that likes to eat the sun. We have swarms of locusts coming in all in the same week. I'm probably missing a couple things, but it might be a little bit better peace of mind for Americans to know that they have their strategic oil reserves, especially when all these cities and states across the path of the eclipse are declaring state of emergency. They're telling people to have a couple extra days of food, have your gas tanks full, all that type of stuff and prep. But then, America doesn't have our own strategic oil reserves replenished yet. I mean, what a disgrace. It's honestly going to be a bad situation for Trump if he wins in November. Typical Democrat move, leaving a hot mess behind in the country for the incoming Republican replacement president-elect, you know what I mean? First thing Trump will have to do is replace the strategic oil reserves, but who knows? Maybe Trump will be able to figure out a way to get the oil prices down quickly, and then he can replenish it when it's cheap again. But it's just a sad day, sad state in America. Democrats definitely not looking out for the American people's best interest, and that's accompanied by a bunch of deep state Republicans as well. The uniparty up there in Washington, D.C. that cover each other's back. They certainly don't look out for Americans' best interests, especially in these election years. So my advice to you guys would be to heed their warnings. Go ahead, fill those gas tanks up. That's actually what I'm going to do today because, well, I ran out of gas and I need to refill everything, and my yard's getting long and I got to mow it. But I'm going to refill the tank in the truck. I'm going to refill the multiple gas cans that I have this afternoon. I'm going to clean off the solar panels, make sure that everything is functioning in tip-top shape, and I hope you guys are thinking about that type of stuff too. It's an important year for spreading information like this. We need to get good local representation. We need to get better governors. We need to get better senators. We need to get better people in the House. We need to get better state reps. We need to get better governors and mayors. Start looking into who are the people that are going to be running in your local area, and make sure that you vote on everything on that ballot. Don't just go in there and fill out for the president. Fill out for everyone. Make sure that you are represented locally all the way up to federal level. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.